In 1870, one man controlled 90% of all the oil in America. Wooden derricks stretched across Pennsylvania like a forest of ambition, and at the center of it all stood a quiet, calculating businessman who would change everything. He became the world's first billionaire. His name was John D Rockefeller, and his family still influences your life today in ways you probably never realized. But here's what's crazy. He started with absolutely nothing. By the time you finish this video, you'll understand how one family built an empire so powerful that even after being broken apart by the government, they're still one of the wealthiest dynasties on Earth. And if you want to see more stories like this about the families that shaped our world, hit that subscribe button right now because we're just getting started. Their influence reaches into every corner of modern America, from the skyscrapers that define our cities to the institutions that shape our lives. Let's go back to 1839. In a small wooden house in upstate New York, a baby is born who will change the world. His name is John Davison Rockefeller. His father, William Rockefeller, is a con artist who sells fake cancer cures and disappears for months at a time. His mother, Eliza, is deeply religious and struggles to feed her 6 children. Young John watches his mother cry over empty cupboards. He sees neighbors whisper about his father. He learns 2 things early. Money solves problems and you can't trust anyone to take care of you. While other kids are playing, John is catching turkeys and selling them to neighbors. At 7 years old, he's lending money to local farmers and charging them interest. Think about that. 7 years old. Most kids that age are worried about what's for dinner. John is already thinking like a banker. His mother teaches him to work hard and save every penny. His father, ironically, teaches him something useful too: how to make deals and never show emotion during negotiations. At 16, John finishes high school and takes a 10-week business course. That's it. 10 weeks. Then he starts looking for a job in Cleveland, Ohio. He walks into office after office for 6 weeks straight. Every single day. Finally, a small produce company hires him as an assistant bookkeeper. His salary? 50 cents a day. He's so happy about getting this job that for the rest of his life he celebrates September 26th, his hire date, more than his own birthday. He calls it Job Day. John is obsessed with numbers. He arrives early, stays late, and never makes mistakes in the ledger books. Within 3 years the company offers him a partnership, but they want him to invest money. He doesn't have enough. So he borrows $1,000 from his father at 10% interest. Yes, his own father charges him interest. In 1859, at just 20 years old, John becomes a partner. The same year, something happens in Pennsylvania that will change his life forever. Someone discovers oil and it erupts from the ground like liquid gold. Back then, people are just starting to use oil for lamps. Before this, everyone uses whale oil, which is expensive and hard to get. Petroleum oil is cheaper and there's way more of it. The problem is it's messy, dangerous, and nobody really knows how to turn it into a reliable business. Most oil men are wildcatters, gamblers who drill wells hoping to strike it rich. John sees the chaos and thinks differently. He doesn't want to drill for oil. He wants to refine it and control how it gets sold. In 1863, John invests in his first oil refinery in Cleveland. He's 24 years old. While other refiners are partying and spending money on fancy things, John is reinvesting every single dollar back into the business. He studies every aspect of refining. He figures out how to use the waste products that other refineries throw away. He makes his own barrels instead of buying them. He negotiates secret deals with railroads to ship his oil cheaper than anyone else can. Within 2 years, his refinery is the biggest in Cleveland. Those railroad deals become his secret weapon, allowing him to undercut every competitor while still making massive profits. But John wants more. In 1870, he creates the Standard Oil Company with a few partners. His vision is simple but radical: control everything. Every refinery, every pipeline, every railroad deal, every distribution network. People think he's crazy. There are hundreds of oil companies. How could one man control them all? Watch what he does next. John goes to his competitors and makes them an offer. Sell your refinery to me or I'll drop my prices so low you'll go bankrupt. Some owners refuse. John keeps his promise. He sells oil below cost until they're desperate, then buys their refineries for pennies. Other owners see what's happening and sell immediately. In just 48 days, John buys 22 of his 26 competitors in Cleveland. People call it the Cleveland Massacre. Now John takes Standard Oil national. He's not just buying refineries anymore. He's buying forests to make barrels. He's buying railroad companies. He's buying the ships that transport oil across the ocean. He's even buying the warehouses where oil is stored. This is called vertical integration, and nobody has done it on this scale before. By 1880, Standard Oil controls 90% of oil refining in America. 90%. Let me put that in perspective. Imagine if one company today controlled 90% of all the internet, all the smartphones, and all the social media platforms. That's how dominant Standard Oil becomes. John is now the richest person in America and probably the world. His personal wealth in today's money would be over $400 billion. That makes him wealthier than Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates combined. But here's what makes John different from other rich people of his time. He lives modestly. He doesn't buy yachts or massive mansions. He doesn't throw parties. He goes to church every Sunday and teaches Bible classes. He gives money to his church regularly. People are confused by him. He's ruthless in business, destroying anyone who gets in his way, but he's quiet and religious in his personal life. The newspapers start investigating Standard Oil. A journalist named Ida Tarbell writes a famous series of articles exposing how Standard Oil operates. Her father's oil business was destroyed by Rockefeller, so she has personal reasons to take him down. Her articles turn public opinion against John. People start calling him a robber baron. They say he's a monopolist who's destroying the free market. Political cartoons show Standard Oil as a giant octopus strangling American industry. The public demands action. The government agrees. In 1911, the Supreme Court orders Standard Oil to be broken up into 34 separate companies. It's one of the biggest antitrust cases in American history. You know what's crazy? This makes John even richer. He owns shares in all 34 companies, and many of them become more valuable after the breakup. Companies like Exxon, Mobil, and Chevron all came from the original Standard Oil. John doesn't even seem upset about the breakup. He's already starting to focus on something else, giving away his fortune. John lives to be 97 years old. In the second half of his life, he gives away more than $500 million, which is like giving away tens of billions today. He creates the University of Chicago. He funds medical research that leads to cures for diseases. He establishes the Rockefeller Foundation, which fights hunger and disease around the world. He basically invents modern philanthropy, the idea that rich people have a responsibility to give back to society. But the story doesn't end with John. His son, John D Rockefeller Jr., continues building the family empire, but in a different way. Jr. isn't interested in oil. He's interested in real estate, art, and continuing his father's philanthropic work. He buys the land and builds Rockefeller Center in Manhattan, which becomes one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in the world. He donates the land for the United Nations headquarters in New York City. He restores Colonial Williamsburg in Virginia. He collects art, and eventually his collection becomes part of the Museum of Modern Art. Jr. has 6 children, and this is where the dynasty really expands. Each child takes the family influence in different directions. John D. Rockefeller III focuses on philanthropy in Asia. Nelson Rockefeller becomes governor of New York and then vice president of the United States under Gerald Ford. Winthrop becomes governor of Arkansas. David becomes chairman of Chase Manhattan Bank and one of the most powerful bankers in the world. Lawrence invests in technology and conservation. And Abby focuses on environmental and social causes. Think about this. One family produces multiple governors, a vice president, major bankers, philanthropists, and art collectors. They have buildings, universities, and foundations named after them. They advise presidents and world leaders. And this continues for generations. We're now in the 7th generation of Rockefellers, and they're still influential. So how did they do it? How does one family maintain power and wealth for over 150 years when most fortunes disappear within 3 generations? First, diversification. After Standard Oil was broken up, the family never put all their wealth in one place again. Second, trusts and foundations. The Rockefellers pioneered the use of family trusts and charitable foundations. These structures protect wealth from taxes and keep it in the family for generations. The foundations also give the family influence over how billions of dollars are spent on education, healthcare, and social causes. Third, education and values. Every Rockefeller child is taught the family history and values. They learn that wealth comes with responsibility. They're expected to be productive and contribute to society, not just spend money. They attend the best schools and build networks with other powerful families. They marry strategically, often to people from other wealthy, influential families. Fourth, privacy. Unlike modern billionaires who are all over social media, the Rockefellers keep a low profile. Fifth, adaptation. Each generation finds new ways to be relevant. But let's be honest about something. The Rockefeller fortune was built on ruthless tactics that destroyed thousands of smaller businesses and families. John D. Rockefeller didn't just compete, he eliminated competition entirely. Workers in oil fields and refineries labored in dangerous conditions for low wages while he accumulated unprecedented wealth. The secret railroad deals gave him unfair advantages that made it impossible for others to compete on equal terms. There's also the Ludlow Massacre in 1914. Coal miners working for a company owned by the Rockefellers went on strike in Colorado. They wanted better pay and safer conditions. The company brought in guards who attacked the striking miners and their families. Tents where families were living were set on fire. 21 people died, including women and children. This happened on Rockefeller property under Rockefeller management. Jr. was heavily criticized, though he claimed he didn't know about the guards' tactics. The incident haunted the family and partly motivated their later philanthropic efforts. Here's what most people don't realize. You interact with Rockefeller legacy every single day. Fill up your car with gas? That industry was built by Standard Oil. Visit a museum? The Rockefellers funded many of them. Take medicine? Rockefeller money funded the research. Attend a university? Might be one they helped establish or support. Work in a skyscraper? Rockefeller Center pioneered that design. The modern concept of medical education in America was largely shaped by Rockefeller funding in the early 1900s. So what can you learn from the Rockefeller dynasty? Whether you admire them or not, their story teaches us about how wealth and power actually work in America. It shows that building lasting wealth isn't about getting rich quick. John D. Rockefeller spent decades building Standard Oil through relentless focus, reinvestment, and strategic thinking. It shows that maintaining wealth requires planning, discipline, and adaptation across generations. From a con artist's son to the world's first billionaire to a dynasty that's influenced America for over 150 years, the Rockefellers changed everything.